Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus West Ham preview, but also some big updates coming in relation to Manchester United and the Ineos purchase of Manchester United. More leaks coming out. Are they true? Are they not? I've just realised I've not turned another light on, although this does look quite good. There'll be people in the chat saying, I like this. I like this look, Goldbridge. You know, different lighting, but I'm not going to stick with it. Let me get me other light on. Okay, there we go. That's better. We're back. There we go. So we're going to go over here in a minute and we're going to go through predicted lineup for West Ham. But let's hit these headlines that are coming in. For me, it's just more intelligent leaks coming out about why Sir Jim's not a terrible owner for Manchester United. So let me just go through. It's coming from Sky News, not Sky Sports, so it's business. I think you've got to take this seriously. So here we go. Sky News has learnt that the Ineos billionaire takeover bid includes put and call arrangements which would become exercisable in 2026 and which would pave the way for the Glazers family complete exit as shareholders. Some people involved in the deal expect a preferred bid to be made by this month, and one insider said the first window to exercise the option would occur 3 years after the deal was completed, with subsequent periods built into the transaction if the first one was not used by either side. This would mean that Sir Jim would have majority ownership, which would include these options to trigger and force the Glazers to sell their remaining shares to him or force him to acquire them at specific future dates. But look, I think look, the first thing to say here is it's almost like, you know, something bad happens and then with time they tell you it's not as bad, but it's still bad. And that's how I feel about that. You know, it's like serving me when I want a lasagna and you tell me that it's not been made with meat, it's been made with horse manure. But guess what? We've got some Caesar salad sauce to drip over the top to make it taste better. It's still shit at the end of the day. And that's how I feel about this. And it's only my opinion. Look, I really have tried to make this ownership thing very, democratic, whatever, pragmatic, that's the word. But it's really difficult to not get drawn into what your preference is. And my preference has always been super wealth. Personally, I don't think it's what I want from football, but it's what football is. Man City have it, Newcastle have it. If we don't have it, we won't compete. So do you want your team to compete, or do you want to be able to go to sleep at night going, well, at least we did it the moral way? And I don't think the Sir Jim Ratcliffe offer is moral anyway. It's keeping the Glazers, there's debt there. I don't. So for me, look, I don't like the idea of what we're hearing. I don't like it at all. And effectively, what it is Sir Jim Ratcliffe will buy 50% of the club. The Glazers, Joel and Avram will stay with 20%. And in 3 years' time, there could be, because that's what it says, there could be an option in there that he can buy the Joel and Avram out in 3 years' time. But the Glazer siblings that are going to go now are going to get about 700 million each. Where's the 1.5 billion coming from in 3 years then? Is that more loaning of money? Where does Man United won't make 1.5 billion in 3 years? So, and why are Joel and Avram staying around for 3 years? If they can take 700 million now and sell it to Qatar, why would they wait 3 years to get 700 million? Are they going to get more than that? Where's that money going to come from? It's, to me, look, business is business. You can load on debts. You can keep debts. Sir Jim spoke about it himself. But all I keep coming back to is, well, yeah, all right, maybe he will buy but why is he not buying the Glazers out now? Because he can't afford it. Even Gary Neville said this. He obviously can't afford to buy all the club at the moment, Sir Jim. So he buys half of it now, and then in 3 years' time, he gets rid of Joel and Avram. Okay, but if he can't afford to do it now, why would we even want some? I suppose the simplest way of saying it is, I can see what Sir Jim's trying to do, long-term remove the Glazers and get hold of all of the club. But it's very obvious he hasn't got the money to do it, otherwise he'd do it now. So you're asking fans to go and trust somebody who's going to be working with the Glazers for at least the next 3 years and clearly hasn't got the money. You're asking fans what they would prefer. Would you prefer this Sir Jim plan that might work, might not work, but doesn't involve a lot of money? Or would you prefer somebody who's super wealthy? And that's what you're asking. And I'm like, why would I want to give up the next 3-6 years on this Sir Jim long-term plan when tomorrow we could have somebody who's super wealthy coming in making the changes we need right now? And that's the choice that fans have to make. So, look, I would prefer the super wealthy option. I've said it many times. Unfortunately, there's only one horse in that race. I wish there was 6 super wealthy options and we could go, I don't whether I want that one. Unfortunately, we've only got one. But as I say, this story that Sir Jim might get rid of Joel and Avram in 3 years' time, as I say, it's just like the lasagna made out of horse crap. It's still, you're just putting sauce on it to make it taste better. It's still unpalatable to me personally. And the big key thing is, why are Joel and Avram hanging around for 3 years? I don't know why they'd hang around for 3 years. And that's the thing. You only ever get one side. Why would Joel and Avram want to stay for 3 years when they could take the money now from Althani? What's the benefit of staying for 3 years? It doesn't make any sense. They can take 700 million now each. Why would you wait 3 years? Because you think you're going to get more in 3 years? I can't see United being worth a lot more in 3 years' time, to be honest with you. It doesn't make any sense. And ultimately, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to appeal to those fans that want a full sale to try and make it feel as not as bad as it is. But to me, it's massively concerning. But what I will put my hand up and say is, look, we are dealing off leaks here. But you know, the truth may be a lot better. It may be a lot worse. But I still think that a full sale is what we need, and that's what a lot of people want, isn't it? So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, let's move towards West Ham against Manchester United. It's a huge game, and we can all talk about the Liverpool result. We can all talk about, you know, Villa have lost. They were never catching us anyway. The cold, harsh facts are we have 5 games left. We have West Ham away. We have Wolves at home. We have Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, and we have Fulham at home. We've got 5 games left in the Premier League. We need to get to 72 points, which is 9 points away. We need 3 wins from 5. I think we can beat Chelsea at home, although they have suddenly found some form, which is typical. We can beat Fulham at home, and we can beat Wolves at home. But it would be a lot easier if we could win our 2 away games, because then it just takes the pressure off. We should go to West Ham and win. We have to go to West Ham and win. In some ways, I think it makes the end to the season a little bit more exciting. I thought we'd coast into the top 4, but actually it looks like we're going to have to work for it, which, you know, fair play to everybody who's making us have to work for it, the Brightons and the Liverpools. But I think we should win this game. West Ham are fighting for their lives. It could be difficult. My biggest fear in this game is scoring goals. Brighton, we didn't score, and we should have scored, and we didn't. Defensively, I think we've played really well. You know, I heard somebody say at the weekend, Luke Shaw was man of the match. He was absolutely flawless with his feet. He just made a mistake with his hand, and it's true. He was absolutely flawless. So I think the back 5 picks itself. I've made one rotational change. Malacia comes in just for rotation, a bit more balance on the left hand side. You could play Delo, but De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof and Shaw have got to play. I mean, I thought before the Brighton game that he might play Maguire. I'd be very worried about playing Maguire because we desperately need to win. He might pick Maguire, rotational, just like I've put Malacia instead of Delo. He might do it. But they've been playing so well, Lindelof and Luke Shaw. And I think, really, if it wasn't for Luke Shaw's hand, they'd have 3 clean sheets together. So I don't know why you'd change it. I really wouldn't change it. Into the midfield, you've got to change it. You've got to take Fred out. You've got to put Eriksen in. We've got to be better in the attack, and Eriksen makes us better in the attack. We saw that when he was injured. I don't normally like Eriksen playing away from home, but you've got to do it. Either him or Sabitzer have got to play. You've got to not play Fred. So Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno for me. And look, they were disappointing against West Ham, but I think kick up the arse might be the way forward for Rashford, Antony and Martial, because regardless of whether we like them or not, regardless of whether they deserve to start or not, they're still our best front 3 by a long way. We've got to make changes. I went high pitch there. We have to go into the summer and make changes. We know that, but I would stick with that front 3. I still think Antony and Rashford and Martial are our best front 3. If you play Weghorst, West Ham are rubbing their hands together. The only differential for me would be Garnacho, but I don't think he'll be ready to start. I think he'll be ready for the bench, and that might be a good thing. But that would be my front 3. Would I play Sancho? No, I wouldn't. I thought about it, and I was like, he didn't impress me when he came on against Brighton. He, you know, tends to play better at Old Trafford than he does away from home. I personally think Antony, although I know some people don't like Antony, but the thing I like about Antony is the things that he worries me about are actually his petulance, which at least shows passion. Rashford and Martial, look, they need to deliver a little bit better. But I think Eriksen coming into the team would help that. So that's how I would line up. I don't want to draw in this game. I think we're getting to the point now where we need to start winning. Draws makes it 8 points needed from 4. If we win, it's 6 points needed from 4. 6 points from 4 with 3 games at home. That's what I'm talking about here. We've got 5 games to go, 2 at home. Sorry, we've got 5 games to go, 3 at home, 2 away. If we win, we've got 3 games at home, 1 away, and we need 6 points. So it's massively important that we go and beat West Ham. This is a huge game for us now. It's massive. And look, in fairness, even if we'd drawn against Brighton, it still would have been a big game. So, because we still would have needed 8 points from 5 instead of 9. So we have to beat West Ham, and I think we will. I think it'll be 2-1 to Manchester United. But look, I'm not disrespecting West Ham here. I was looking at their run. So West Ham at home this season, they've won 6, drawn 4, and lost 7. Scored 22 and conceded 23. It's very, they're in a relegation battle, so their home form for a relegation team isn't terrible. So look, and I've seen plenty of bad results at West Ham over the years. I remember, was it Mourinho with McTominay in a back 5? I remember that one. So look, they're capable of getting a result. West Ham are capable of getting a result against us. But the good thing for Manchester United is, whilst our away record is dreadful against the top 9, I don't think we've lost a game to anybody in the bottom half. And I think we've beaten most of the teams away from home in the bottom half. So we have a dreadful away record, but it's exclusive to the top 9. I think against the bottom 9, I think we've won every game away from home. Correct me if I'm wrong. We've certainly not been beaten by any of them, I don't think. So we've got a very good record away from home against the teams in the bottom half. And it's almost a Poch thing we've got going on, really. It's been a bit. In fact, this season by Ten Hag has been very much like Pochettino. Not a great record against the top 6, certainly away from home, but we've been very good at beating the teams home and away in the bottom half, which is what gets you in there. So I fancy us to win 2-1. I'd love us to win 3 or 4-0, but really the main thing is to win the game and move on. So that and that. As I say, mate, if we win this game, we need 9 to get top 4. We'd need 6 from 12, and 3 of them are at home, and that's the incentive. I think we've been pretty good this season at bouncing back. I hate the term. I really hate it, but I think we've been pretty good at it. So I'm hoping that that's what we can do. I'm hoping that we can go and get a result. And look, Bournemouth have just lost to Chelsea 3-1. We can go to Bournemouth and win. So if we can beat West Ham and beat Bournemouth, that's 6 of the 9 we need with 3 home games to come. So I think it's we're good enough to win this. I know there's a bit of a downer going on at the moment, but as I say, you look at that side that we've got, I think we're capable. We're more than capable. And I expect us to go and deliver because I think against against Brighton, we were flat in the second half. We've got to play for 90 minutes as well. I think a lot of teams know in the last half an hour you can get at United. But I'm generally happy with the way we've defended. We've got one of the best defences in Europe, clean sheets wise. So, and I do think that Luke Shaw and Lindelof work well. Obviously, it'd be very interesting to see how West Ham line up because they've got powerful players that can play up front that might make him think about Maguire. But that's the only thing that worries me a bit. I think if Maguire starts, we can still win the game. But will he do that? I hope he doesn't. I hope he sticks with Lindelof and he trusts Lindelof. And you've got to keep Luke Shaw at left centre-back. But it'd be a massive result for United. Anyway, only a quick video because it's a Saturday night. I will be over on TalkSport with the Mark Goldbridge Show if you want to tune in. Thank you very much for that. Massive game tomorrow night. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday night, which is a bit weird. But it's a bit of a weird weekend in the UK anyway because we've had the coronation. We had a 3 o'clock game live on TV with Man City against Leeds. But make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. And don't forget to get your comments in around what I was talking about at the start with Sir Jim and Ineos and this. I just don't like the sound of it. But, it's you might. Thanks for watching. Take care. Speak to you all in a bit.